So the first question, how can you be vulnerable and still maintain executive presence, is kind of an interesting thought. I think of it as the vulnerability doesn't show weakness in executive presence. It shows deeper who you are. So it doesn't affect how professional you seem to other people. Rather, it provides the ability to connect better with other people. And so having the executive presence and vulnerability at the same time can be difficult, but vulnerability opens up the communication channels that wouldn't have been there otherwise. And that's what it's there for, and that's what it's all about. But you can definitely be a professional you can definitely be vulnerable while still maintaining professionalism. Which of the few coaching mistakes do I see in myself? One example is in IBC. A lot of times, like as a leader, in the leader role that I had a trouble managing expectations for my team. And rather than saying, "Oh, we should do this, we should work on this," I said, "We're going to do this, and it's going to be looking like this, and I need you to do this." And I never asked for feedback, and that was something that I did wrong, and it didn't end up going well. Looking back at it, I know that if I asked questions like, "If we need to do this for a company, what do you guys suggest?" Kind of get help from my team rather than telling them what to do. They'd be sold on the idea rather than me trying to sell them on it. And that's a mistake as well. Just having them follow you rather than you helping them. So that's something I am trying to apply more in my communication with people. What two things am I trying to improve in my professional presence? Right now, I get a lot of feedback that says I don't mirror people when they laugh or smile or tell a story. So I've been trying in the last few weeks to smile, nod, and say, "Wow, okay." When they're telling stories, and it's hard to do, and I remind myself to do it sometimes, but it's something I'm trying to work on. But I've received so much feedback from so many people that I need to work on it, and so I think it's worth working on it for me. Another thing is my position. I move around a lot, and so that's a small thing, but it's still something I can work on. The leadership style that best describes me was the steward. I thought that was kind of cool. That they're rocks of their organization is what it says. And it's not always the easiest to work with them. They're not always as compassionate as the other people, but they're incredibly strong, and they believe in the chain and processes. And I kind of see that in my life. Like an example of that being like, if this is what the rule says, follow the rule, do it, and then ask questions later. But I believe in strict guidelines and following that. And a small example is like if someone sets a time for a date, I think my steward leadership style translates to me expecting them to be there at the time, and that's really important to me. I'm having the strong value of time and rules and processes, but I also saw similarities between the steward that I got and the pragmatist, in that a lot of times I don't care what other people, or at least in the past, I didn't care what others thought of what I was saying to them. And a lot of people with thinner skin don't like me as much because I'm a bit more blunt with them. But recently I've tried to err on the more positive side when giving feedback and communicating with peers. And I think that has led me into more of a steward leader, which I'm happy to be. So that's all for the questions.